Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. So this presentation was proudly put together by the team at Forge College. And today we've got a super specific, highly practical goal. We're going to bridge the gap between your basic Rust client knowledge and actively creating a real working Solana transaction. If you've been, scaffolding your client and learning the ropes of Rust in Web3, well, this is exactly where all that theory finally turns into action. We are literally going to look at how to construct, sign, and send a transaction right onto the network.
All right, let's dive into the transaction assembly line. Actually, I want you to just completely step away from all the heavy programming jargon for a minute. Just picture an engineering assembly line. Creating a transaction, it isn't magic. It's a really clear, deliberate, step-by-step process. Just like on a factory floor, we set up our raw inputs at one end, we run them through the necessary machinery, and boom, we get a predictable finished product out the other end. If you can wrap your head around this assembly line analogy, you're going to perfectly understand exactly how Rust interacts with Solana.
So, before any actual assembly begins, we got to gather our components on the drafting table, right? Think of these simply as our mechanical inputs and tools. First up, you have your instruction. That's what you actually want to do. Then, the message, which is kind of like the neatly packed envelope holding those instructions. The transaction is the final package itself. Then we have the RPC client, which is our delivery vehicle. The blockhash acts as our timestamped postage. And finally, the keypair file. That's your unique, cryptographic ink signature. Honestly, once you have all these raw materials laid out in front of you, the actual construction becomes incredibly straightforward.
Okay, so here's the exact factory process for sequencing your transaction. Step 1, we build our instructions, basically defining the exact logic we want the network to execute. Step 2, we reach out to the network to grab a block hash. Step 3, we bundle our instructions together to create the message. Step 4, we take that message and sign the transaction using our keypair, officially stamping it with our authority. And finally, Step 5, we submit that fully signed transaction to the RPC endpoint, effectively shipping it out into the world. See, it's incredibly logical when you just lay it out step by step like this.
Now, I want to briefly isolate the RPC client for a second because it plays such a pivotal role here. It is, essentially, your delivery system. You could build the most perfect, totally error-free transaction in the world locally on your machine, but without the RPC client, it's just a package sitting in an empty warehouse. The RPC client acts as the transport mechanism. It establishes the necessary connection to actually move your fully assembled transaction straight from your Rust application directly over to the Solana network endpoint.
Another totally vital component here is the blockhash. I like to think of this as a time-stamped waybill. The Solana network operates incredibly fast, right? And to prevent old, duplicate transactions from just being processed over and over again, the network actually requires a recent blockhash. We absolutely must actively obtain this from the network right before finalizing our message. It's basically the network's way of ensuring that your specific transaction is uniquely valid right here, right now, at this exact moment in time.
Just look at this transformation. On one side, we've got our raw inputs, our key pairs, our instructions, our block hash. They are absolutely essential, but they're disorganized. Then, on the other side, after running them through our Rust assembly line process, we get the processed output, a neatly packaged, cryptographically signed transaction. It's completely ready for the network. By strictly defining our inputs and following that 5-step process we talked about, we literally turn scattered code into actionable network commands.
But of course, no assembly line is complete without a solid quality assurance checkpoint. After we ship our transaction, we have to verify the receipt. And there are 2 critical checks for success here. First, we need to ensure the transaction was actually confirmed by the cluster, and second, we need to verify that the program emitted the expected logs during execution. If the cluster says yes, and your expected logs print out, well then you know definitively that your Rust client successfully communicated with the Solana network.
So, what does this all mean? What's the major takeaway here? It's that we've successfully achieved our core goal. By constructing, signing, and submitting these basic transactions on a test environment like DevNet, you've unlocked a massive new capability. You aren't just writing theoretical code anymore. You can now actively exercise and test your program logic. You literally have the tools to form an intent, transmit it, and watch the Solana network react exactly as you engineered it to. How cool is that?
And that brings us to the end of today's focus breakdown. Again, this explainer was proudly made by Forge College. If you found this helpful and you're eager to master these Web3 concepts, I highly encourage you to go visit forge.college to learn more. You now know exactly how to build the raw engine of a transaction totally from scratch. But what if there were smarter, faster tools to just automate this whole assembly line for you? Well, next up, we'll dive into using Solana client libraries in Rust to find out. See you in the next explainer.